Good morning, everyone. Glad to have y'all here so far. Just go ahead, come on in, relax, and just chill because I only have you all here for an hour. We're going to be talking about the coverage, or having the coverage on Lucasfilm, as well as the current state of it, as well as the possible meeting that's maybe happening this week. Okay, if not today. All right, so what are we going to be discussing? We're going to be discussing how exactly we got to this point, as well as the failures and everything that happened on Lucasfilm, as well as some of what the news media outlets have said, as well as the failure of its latest project, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Okay, so we all know that the Dial of Destiny has been underperforming greatly. In other words, it flopped. Okay, we guessed it. We knew it was going to happen. All right, so it's not much of a surprise for everyone or all of us, okay? But the thing is, a lot of people still think that, it's a matter of a success, or the only people who maybe think of that are those who are trying to go ahead and get other people to go ahead and see the movie, okay? Now, in case you have been hearing about this from Midnight's Edge live stream from last night, or even Valiant Renegade's live stream, there's been several reports from local AMC theaters throughout the US where they work to go ahead and try to get people to not watch the Sound of Freedom movie, okay? Now, as you all know, Sound of Freedom has been outperforming Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. Even though it was a low-budget film and it's an independent film, it was still able to make back the money from its budget, including production budget as well as marketing budget, okay? So it outperformed, Dial of Destiny, which is a major motion picture, big buck on budget box office film. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking with you all about basically what's been happening under Lucasfilm and everything. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to start discussing some of these things. Ooh, I got the wrong screen up. Supposed to have the live stream settings up right now. There we go. All right. So exactly how did we get to this point right here? How do we get to this point in this particular matter? Well, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory and simple, of course, because of the simple fact that Kathleen Kennedy, she got herself into this, and will she be able to get herself out of it? Maybe not. But other than that, I'll go ahead and discuss, how it got to this point. First and foremost, we all knew that, ever since The Last Jedi, a lot of people have responded with their distaste and their disdain with everything with Lucasfilm, including everything that didn't work with movies, Rise of Palpatine. Only thing that was going good for was The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. All right. And we saw that Mandalorian season 3 was failing and flopping with ratings and stuff from the streaming app from Disney Plus. So there's been backlash against Mandalorian season 3, where people started blaming, John Favreau. But instead, it was actually Dave Filoni with the assistance of Kathleen Kennedy and her approval of going ahead and greenlighting this stuff and creating it as well. But then after that, we see that Kathleen Kennedy announced her new Star Wars projects back in April at the Star Wars celebration that took place, I believe, in London, or if not, just the way they said in Europe in general, back in April, which included a race-centered movie and a female-centric story arc in her vision of the Lucasfilm brand. Okay. And then we also see some new rumors of a new conflict between Bob Iger leaked to the public between him and Kathleen Kennedy, as well as updates of a book of what happened within Lucasfilm, including racism as well as mistreatment of employees, possibly, the women who work for the company. And then we also learned of the closure of the Galactic Star Cruiser at Walt Disney World. Okay, that which has only been open for a year or so. So then we also have where a lot of people actually had came out to voice their strong disdain for that. And then remember, they was charging $6,000 per family, which was completely outrageous in my opinion. All right. So not only that, But you also have poor reviews of the latest Dial of Destiny premiering at the Cannes Film Festival, where the movie was so bad and boring, it came to the point where the people in the audience were just started talking or getting on their phones, so on and so forth. I wouldn't even be surprised if people there started falling asleep. Okay. And then there was further box office projections up for the movie to have a lackluster performance in its first week. Some people even predicted that it was going to be flopping, and I was one of them. Okay, that was going to be another flop because of the fact that we know with this particular downward trend that Lucasfilm and Disney has been going on. You know, I expected it to become a flop, and it exceeded my expectations. Okay. But then there was also another rumor that Lucasfilm plants a fake story about Alden Ehrenreich returning as Han Solo, okay, for an upcoming Star Wars project. Now, when it comes to stuff like that, it also was leaked around the time where Kathleen Kennedy was snubbed by Steven Spielberg at the Los Angeles premiere of Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. Now, Spielberg's choice to honor composer John Williams as the last person after, you know, George Lucas, Harrison Ford, and then Kathleen Kennedy thought that, you know, she was gonna be thanked for the accomplishments for Indiana Jones as well as other Star Wars projects, where Steven Spielberg honored composer John Williams for his contributions with the music through the franchise, while completely ignoring Kathleen Kennedy and her husband Frank Marshall, who were producers for the franchise for over 40 years. Which was a stinging rebuke that's left Kennedy rumored to be angry and depressed. All right. Now, it was also said that this movie was supposed to be her baby. Well, it seems to me that either she should be charged with child abuse or neglect, because the movie was that bad. All right. So then there was also another rumor and news spreading about another chaotic activity inside of Lucasfilm around the timing of the DEI officer Latondra Newton being fired by Bob Iger after a failed power grab. I also talked about that before as well. And then Kathleen Kennedy, her email was supposedly it's suspended, which is another rumor, where she was put on 2-week leave as Disney executives descended on Lucasfilm. Now, this is where a time where different scoopers like Sparrow called the Disney executives the Four Horsemen. All right. Now, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny flopped in the box office on the 4th of July weekend, being overtaken by Sound of Freedom. And then there was also another rumor of Disney representatives who were labeled as the Five Horsemen searching for Kennedy's financial records in effort to have Kennedy replaced. Okay. And then we also see that the trade start blaming Lucasfilm for mismanaging Indiana Jones after some of them started defending it and everything. And it also made a lot of people wonder where's John Mangold, because of the fact that a lot of leaks were put out there about the film, and then he went on Twitter, a Twitter tirade responding to people saying how much disinformation and misinformation has been put out there, how everyone's been lying. Come to find out the whole time he's been lying. Okay. Even a leak of what was supposed to be the original ending turned out to be the alternative ending, where Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character went on ahead and wore Indiana Jones's fedora after he passes away. Okay. Then we also had rumors of a heated meeting between Iger and Kathleen Kennedy within Disney and Lucasfilm meeting, leading to leaks of Kennedy blaming Iger for the failure of Indiana Jones 5 as well as other films and shows. And this week we see that Indiana Jones 5 was overtaken by Insidious 3. Okay? By Insidious 3. I did it again, messed up. Hang on. All right. So it's a lot to cover on this coverage, okay? And with the latest scoop coming in from Hollywood, where it talked about the Horsemen setting an emergency meeting as early as this week. So we don't know when it's actually going to be, but the rumor states that it's going to be involving like a mandatory meeting with all of Lucasfilm's management, okay? I wonder if it's also including Pablo Hidalgo, since he's a part of the management as well, because he needs to be gone as well. So, like I shared in last night's video, about the latest intel that was provided to Karen Pashaw and others, where the leaker had to have their identity protected, where with the five horsemen, they were doing an all weekend investigation into the whole Lucasfilm fiasco, where they had people working all weekend at Lucasfilm offices, and apparently they might have found some critical information that they were looking for. Now, not much details were put out there due to the fact that the identity of the leaker has to be protected. Okay, and I agree with that. But anytime where any more details would be put out, I'll be looking forward to those, and I'll be sharing those with you all as well. But as a result of the investigation, it has some damaging legal implications for certain employees of the company, and this led to the five horsemen setting an emergency meeting, perhaps earlier this week, with Lucasfilm employees. So I'm guessing it's not only with management, but also the employees. And I shared a video a while back where it talks about, those who are part of the story group who are going to be fired, as well as those who may be a part of the story group that's going to stay there, who may be, faithful to the branding of George Lucas as well as Jon Favreau. Okay. Those are just still rumors. Those are still up in there as well. Now, Sparrow doesn't know yet what they plan to say at this all hands on deck gathering, but it seems like this big news is going to be about the future of the company as well as its leadership with the executives, including Kathleen Kennedy. Okay, now there's much more that a lot of scoopers as well as people like Karen Pashaw want to reveal, but if it is, then that's going to lead to the identity of the leaker being tipped off to Kathleen Kennedy, her spies, as well as the undermining of the horseman's work. Okay. But apparently we're so deep into this that it's like, much more of this can be go ahead and being unraveled so soon. But it appears that the big news about the future of the company and its leadership may be on a tipping scale, and there's going to be things, possibly any changes that may coming up rapidly. So for now, the details are going to be held at bay, and it's going to be revealed later when the timing is right. All right. Now, Sparrow did leak out a bit more information in detail as to what's happening. The horsemen have actually uncovered the fiscal and criminal malfeasance on the acolyte. So remember, this is, late last minute stuff, and it should be taken as rumor with a huge heap of salt. Okay. Now, this kind of information that would normally be turned over to district attorneys' offices for prosecution of people associated with the project and involved in the wrongdoing, but Bob Iger might hold back the evidence as a final sword against Kennedy if she refused to not come to terms about her departure, or in other words, being willing to quit, okay, or be forced out possibly, okay. Now, I guarantee you there's much more to this, but it's getting really ugly in a manner where it comes down to these rumors for Kathleen Kennedy. Now, as far as Leslie Helen and what's called the Flying Monkeys, they may be in the same boat. Okay, now the whole acolyte, the whole show with the acolyte involving the acolyte looks like it's going to be one like stupid mistake, and it may also bring an end to the reign of Kathleen Kennedy's terror. Okay, but yeah, this is pretty interesting because for like the past almost decade or so, a lot of fans have had a big disdain for Kathleen Kennedy as well as her works. But in the past 2 weeks, ever since the release of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, we've actually seen what's actually been happening behind the scenes involving Kathleen Kennedy as well as Bob Iger. Okay. Now, Bob Iger, he, in my opinion, he's a failure of a CEO. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there like that. He's a big failure as a CEO. Like everything that he's approved of either started off as a minor success, but then over the years it became a complete failure. Okay, we've all been speaking out on this. We made our voices known about this on social media. Okay, but no one wants to listen. No surprise. Okay, that's how we got the different failures of the MCU, the different failures of Pixar, and as well as the different failures of Lucasfilm. MCU being everything in Phase 4. That was stuff that was planned out years prior, before Bob Chapek was even CEO. That was approved. That were approved under him. Then we also see the different works of Pixar, including Strange World, Lightyear, so on and so forth. Okay, even with some of the live action remakes, even The Little Mermaid. All right, that was also approved under Bob Iger before he left as Disney's CEO. And then there was also the failures of Lucasfilm's Disney sequels of Star Wars, as well as some success with Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. He gave credit to Kathleen Kennedy over that when it wasn't anything that came from her. Pretty sure it wasn't anything she wanted either. Otherwise, it'll be a big flop. Okay. He also approved all of the current failures with the Marvel Phase 4 from Marvel Studios, and the current failures with, Lucasfilm. All right. But yeah, this is pretty interesting to actually, cover. It got so bad that even the trades have started talking about this. Not just the trades, but different, websites referring to this, where a lot of website sites, if you simply go ahead and do the Google search about Kathleen Kennedy fired from Lucasfilm, you're going to see several different trades talking about it, as well as different websites saying that it's rumor where she's been fired, and they're talking about it as well because of the fact that it's been a huge trending topic, with Google searches as well as YouTube. Okay. So even if she were to be fired, they're going to have a replacement. I guarantee you Bob Iger is going to have a replacement that's going to go ahead and promote the whole ESG and DEI initiatives better than Kathleen Kennedy would. Because in my opinion, he already fired the DEI officer, LaTondra Newton, and it was also announced that they're looking for a replacement to fill the same position. So that means he's going to continue with the whole woke ideology going ahead being presented out there, because he wants to continue with the messaging. Okay, he wants to preserve his legacy. All right, if you want to preserve your legacy, get rid of the people that didn't help to make the things work, rather than continue with the same thing to go ahead and go out on a new audience that's not even paying attention. Why? Because those who were within the audience that you're trying to reach out to, they don't want these things themselves. Flop after flop after flop. Welcome, Silicon Dave. Glad to have you this morning. Glad to have you here. All right. So it's talking about, of course, this article is talking about the different rumors swirling around the internet about Lucasfilm and, having fired Kathleen Kennedy. There hasn't been any confirmation about that yet. All right. So far, just go ahead and take it as rumor, because that's all it is so far. All right. And usually, sometime in the near future, it may be confirmed, whether it be weeks or possibly months from now, where she's actually been fired. Because there's word around the office where there's been a period of time where she wasn't there, she didn't show up to work, she didn't come to work, so on and so forth. All right. So apparently here it says that Kathleen Kennedy became the president in 2012. Is basically going back to how, she started at Lucasfilm and what she done that. It's asking a question here: was this really Disney executive really locked out of her business email, where it says, truth is that none of these rumors have a ton of validity. Back in 2021, Kennedy's contract was renewed for an additional 3 years, showing that Lucasfilm still saw her in a good light. However, it is strange that no official source has been able to shut down these rumors yet. That's another good point. Even though that they're calling this rumor and everything, that, they're saying it's not valid, no one actually came forward to shut down these rumors. Okay, so that is also another interesting fact. And I've also shared with you all this before, where if a rumor's been put out there, be sure to look out for anybody to go ahead and shut it down, saying it's not true, so on and so forth. Okay. And we all remember, like I said earlier in this live stream, where James Mango said that all of these leaks aren't true about the movie. Da 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 da. That's not happening. That's not happening. Only to find out it was real. And that's what led to the different reshoots of the Indiana Jones and the Dollar Destiny movie. Now, for now, he says here, the rumor that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy has been fired is just that, a rumor. Nevertheless, the support of her removal from fans should be enough to let the company know that fans are really not seeing her creative vision. In the days to follow, fans will be eagerly waiting to hear the latest news from if this claim is debunked or if there's actually some substance to this gossip. And I'm one of them. Okay? You got those who are core audiences who are paying attention, who left the fandom, who left the Lucasfilm fandom for the Star Wars fandom because of the things that happened. And you also have those who are still a fan of the George Lucas works, prequels, as well as the originals, who are still sticking around waiting for the end. All right. But they're not heavily investing in it. Okay. Even though this is rumor, this is something interesting. It's a rumor, but a rumor that has not yet been debunked. Pretty sure. And also, don't forget, Disney Parks is also struggling too. So we got another attraction says here that's been closing. I guarantee you're talking about, the Star Wars attraction. But they're saying that another attraction is coming to a close in September. So they're talking about, of course, the Splash Mountain attraction closing down. We already knew that. But they announced that another guest favorite iconic attraction is headed for the chopping block. And so this is interesting. The attraction, the Indiana Jones attraction, is called the Indiana Jones and Temple of Peril. That's closing too. I forgot all about that. So that's going to be closing as well. I'm guessing that this is open, and this is also open in Disneyland Paris since 1993. Okay, so this is closing. Now, is it closing down because of the fact that, the movie Dollar Destiny isn't doing so well, or are they looking to go ahead, close it down, and try to get the replacement for it to actually help promote the film itself, to put it in a better light, to get more people to watch it, to see it and everything, so that way the company can make more money? All right, I don't know. That's what I'm guessing. So it says here, the roller coaster style attraction reaches a top speed of approximately 36 miles per hour. But the attraction will be reportedly closed to guests on September 25th, 2023. There's no explanation to the closure and no details about whether the scheduled session of the ride operations for Indy's attraction will be permanent or an extended time in event of the needed maintenance. So far they're closing it for maintenance, but there was no word of if it's going to be closed permanently. All right. Welcome, David. Glad to have you here as well. All right. But yeah, I want to talk about the numbers with Indiana Jones right quick. So far the movie's only made a little over $247 million. That is sad. That's really sad. Okay. Now let's see if how it's matched up with The Flash. Okay, because we all know that The Flash is another box office flop, and it did poorly to the point where people started questioning how will James Gunn be able to save the franchise under Warner Brothers Discovery of DC Films, that is. Okay, so it's actually doing better than The Flash domestically, of course, and sitting at over $121 million compared to The Flash's $87 million on the same day. Yeah, that's a shame for The Flash, but at the same time, even though it's making more money than The Flash, it's still not excusing the fact that Lucasfilm is in trouble. Disney's in trouble as well. Okay? Let me know your thoughts about this in the chat. If you have any questions, be sure to go ahead and ask me any of the questions that you may have. All right. I'm open to answering all or any questions on this particular matter. Remember, it's a 1 hour live stream. So if you have any questions about any of my thoughts or opinions about this matter, I'll be glad to go ahead and answer them for you. What do you all think about this? Do you think that Kathleen Kennedy is actually going to have a future at Lucasfilm after all, or is it already up in smoke? Also, I want to apologize to you all for the mishap with the live stream this morning. Apparently, I had a few what I thought was technical difficulties, but turns out I was doing it wrong. Okay. Interesting. I already got a bit of a topic discussion for one of my videos to be premiered later. 7 people in the chat so far. 7 people watching so far. That's another major accomplishment. So apparently, Hugh Jackman may be donning the yellow and blue uniform in the next Deadpool, in the upcoming Deadpool 3. I've said it. Hopefully that caught your attention. I'm going to share that in today's video as well. Now, Deadpool 3 is in production. You know, a lot of people started stating some things about Deadpool's outfit. It's basically the same attire, but you know, it may be a particularly different style. All right. Or some people said that, you know, it should be canceled because there was leaks out there stating that it's not going to be actually Wolverine, but it's just going to be Hugh Jackman playing himself. Okay, so they're using the multiverse adage and stuff. In this case, I don't mind the multiverse adage because under 20th Century Fox, Logan was killed off already. They killed him before the failure of the New Mutants. All right. I didn't really like the movie Logan because of the way it ended. I wasn't much of a fan of the comic itself, where he was Old Man Logan and he died, but then they did bring him back. You know, they did bring him back. It's also unfortunate that not Lucasfilm, Marvel decided to go ahead and go in a different route with the movie itself, with the movies, making them all political. What did David? David Glenn in the chat said it did. Trying to figure out what he meant by that. Yep. Donning the yellow and blue suit. But the thing is, the suit, it looks interesting. He's all covered up and everything. So as soon as I'm finished with this live stream, I'm going to go ahead and start on the video for that. All right. But I still want to talk about this whole thing with Kathleen Kennedy and stuff in Lucasfilm. Like I've stated before in WW's Pro show that Thursday night, I wasn't a fan of Star Wars for long, but when I actually got into it, I was hooked. Okay, I started off watching the George Lucas originals, New Hope, the Star Wars New Hope as they called it, The Empire Strikes Back, as well as Return of the Jedi. All right. I was hooked on them. They had excellent storylines. But then I watched Force Awakens. I didn't like the story for that. I mean, I thought at the time I thought it was okay, but thinking back on it a few years ago, and I thought about this a few years ago, it was just no. No, it it basically was a failure. It led to The Last Jedi because they're calling Ray The Last Jedi. And then we have the rise of Skywalker, or as we call it, the rise of Palpatine. You know, that failed in the box office despite making, over $1 billion and everything. And this is right about before the time the pandemic started. Okay. I mean, it's just, they expect people who aren't the original fans of Star Wars to go ahead and take in these things while providing an ESG investment model. Okay. Wall Street Journal is also reporting that Disney World crowds get surprisingly thin this summer. It's not a matter of surprise with the fact that a lot of people who are deciding to save their money for overrated things overcharging. In this case, Disney with the woke ideology. I agree. It would help if the Star Wars stories actually made sense now, but it doesn't because they never had a plan. Simple as that. They never had a plan from Force Awakens all the way to the Rise of Palpatine. No plan. And they expect us to believe that they're going to actually have a plan they got a plan for the Acolyte as well as what they claim to be the next Rey movie. Even if it were to happen and stuff, and these rumors about Kathleen Kennedy and with Lucasfilm were true, Kathleen Kennedy won't be able to enjoy it front and center. You know? But I digress. Okay? Be sure to go ahead and share this far wide across social media, everyone. We want to get more people in this chat and also to view this to form a community. That's why I decided to go ahead and revamp this channel to focus on geek culture and pop culture and current event news. So that way we can grow as a community, escape from the establishment media and everything, as well as the trades, not be deceived by them. All right. And even after all the woke things has been going from these companies and stuff, I'm still going to continue to talk about the goodness of the content I put out there. Give us a chance to actually enjoy something again. Go ahead and smash that heart in the chat. Also got the super chats activated as well if you looking to support the channel. So that way I can continue to further the work on this channel as well. I'm going to be honest with y'all. All this mess involving Cameron Pashaw, I'm not going to get in the middle of it. I still listen to him. I like him. A lot of people out there stating that, he always get his stuff wrong, especially with what happened with the Star Wars celebration this year. But I still guarantee you all that it's nothing more than just a bit of a twist where Kathleen Kennedy decided to go ahead and then provide a way out just to go ahead and try to make sure she doesn't get fired or forced out. That could be the very thing that's happening. Never know. At least I think that's happening. But other than that, I digress. Because of the simple fact that, and I'm also paying attention to what's the latest thing to be happening, but they may or may not happen until like 12 p.m. or so. Because remember, all of these things usually happen on West Coast time, which is 3 hours from Eastern Standard Time. Okay. But other than that, I'm actually, if these, even though these are rumors, I'm still hopeful. If I'm disappointed in the end, hey, at least I know the fact that they're actually seeing how we feel about what they're putting out there, and that they got a bigger chance. Like when they fail, they're gonna lose more money. That's their chance of actually knowing that they can easily be replaced. I still think Bob Iger can be replaced, but he may not be, because there's rumors where he's looking for a contract extension, like for 2 more years. That's basically going to cement his try to cement his legacy, because I was there for the WWE Pro show for that one too. David Glenn says change is the one constant in the universe. Let's hope change happens sooner rather than later. We've been saying that for a few years now, all of us in the fandom. They called us they called us the Phantom, the Phantom Menace, based on the Phantom Menace of the prequel. They call us the Fandom Menace, and guess what? We wear that title proudly. I know why I do, because it shows that not only how they feel about us, but it shows that we're making them nervous. Welcome, Global Lopez. He says the only way Disney to save Star Wars and Rey is to remake the sequel trilogy and not destroy Luke's character, but they're too proud for that. Not only that, but that's going to go within the idea of the World of Worlds, based on that one episode created by Dave Filoni of Star Wars Rebels. Kind of like the Star Wars version of the multiverse from the Marvel Studios. I mean, I thought about that a couple of years ago at the start of the pandemic, when that was first started being talked about. I was hopeful that could happen. Also, a lot of us are also hopeful to the point where we would hope that Jon Favreau would be named the next replacement of Kathleen Kennedy, or maybe even George Lucas. But I guarantee you all, if she goes, they're going to have a worse replacement. Possibly Dave Filoni, or somebody else that's also supporting or trying to promote the whole DEI initiative. I've been saying this before. Bob Iger is maybe it's possible. It seems like he's looking for those who are better able to promote the whole woke ideology within Lucasfilm, within Marvel Studios, Pixar, Disney in general. Yeah, possibly even Dusty Helen. I wouldn't be surprised. He's trying to go ahead and get these different people to work in these positions to go ahead and meet the ESG criteria to help get more money from the government. Drop in the chat if you agree with me to keep government out of entertainment. It's bad enough that the government on either side of the political aisle or any party is involved in our personal lives and stuff. At least let us have our escapism, our myths to ourselves. It's also a shame where it came to the point where the leaker, Sparrow, he or she is about to have their identity compromised based on the different information that's being put out there. If any more information has been revealed about it, that's going to show Kathleen Kennedy as well as her spies who's been leaking the information. This person or people is our last hope to figure out what's happening in Lucasfilm. You know? If, like, you know, Bluebird, he or she could also be out there helping out as well. Haven't heard anything about what Bluebird had to say about this in a while. I want to thank you all for joining me this morning for this live stream. I appreciate your support. Whether you're like your support, even your support and stuff in the manner of like viewing the video or putting the likes out there, as well as, you know, subscribing to the channel. If you leave in comments below whether you're for or against what I'm saying here, I'm happy either way. Just know that I'm not doing this for fame or recognition or notoriety or any of that. I'm simply doing this because I, myself, a nerd, am a fan of these things that wants these things back. I want this community to grow as well. I don't want people to be deceived by the trades, mainstream media out there as well. I'm doing this for the sake of citizen journalism. I wanted to be better at citizen journalism. Global Lopez, let me know if I'm mispronouncing your name and tell me how to properly pronounce it. He said that I wonder if all these rumors are just to manipulate fans into hoping and watching Disney Star Wars like before. I've said that on a pro show before. I've definitely said that on a pro show before. I'm glad you're in agreement with what I've thought about before as well. It could be. Because it could be another bait and switch technique that they're doing. You know? I've been up here for about 45 minutes now. I haven't even taken a break yet. Man, oh man, oh man. Has anybody seen the new Sound of Freedom movie? I haven't seen it yet. I plan to see it sometime this week if the Lord is willing. I hear it's really great. Disney does love the bait and switch. That is true, David. That is true. I agree with you right there. Because we've been getting that for years now. With the Disney sequels of Star Wars, which is not really Star Wars, by the way, we've been getting that for years now. Where the way they marketed it, it was basically they had us set up to believe that we're gonna have Luke, Leia, as well as Han back together all in one. I was hoping to even see all of them together with Chewie, CP3O, R2D2. We got those. Even freaking Billy D. Williams when he played Calrissian. They really love the beta switches. And this is also off topic. Has anyone heard of, you know, the rumor where Robert Downey Jr. was spotted in Mexico and stuff on set of a filming of an MCU movie? Let me know your thoughts about that in the chat below. Because for like a couple of years now, as well as recently, I've been reporting rumors of Robert Downey Jr. possibly returning to a particular show or movie for the MCU. I've heard of the rumor. I don't mind him being back in the MCU as well. I'm still sad about the fact that they killed Tony Stark off, so that way they can go ahead and introduce more characters, newer characters, the characters that don't work. That way they can go ahead and continue their messaging. Before even the first MCU movie, the first Iron Man movie, the Marvel's comics have been doing their messaging. They decided to go ahead and put it in the film and give us the okie doke. But other than that, I mean, The rumor it is so far that has been debunked either. Hopefully RDJ brings some competent writers with them. I hope so too. I saw that he also has a show on Max dealing with automobiles. I forgot the name of it though. And I think he also has some sort of Netflix documentary that's been out with that may be coming out soon. I mean, I just don't know. Oh, one more thing I want to mention too. If you have any other suggestions for the channel to help it to make it better, to help you to come back more and everything, let me know those in the comments below as well as the chat. Previously, I did hear some suggestions for people in the comments below, and I did make adjustments to those, and a few of those have started coming back to the channel as well. All right. Soon it's going to be approaching 11 o'clock. Sometime soon, it's either 11 or 12. May have Fat Steven doing the live stream on his channel. Now, this live stream is not connected to his, where you're going to automatically be redirected over there. But just letting you give you all the heads up. He may be going live today. I could be wrong. But yeah, this is all interesting for all of these things to happen. Also, if there's any new news that's been put out there, expect a newer video or me possibly going live again later on today. Lord willing, I may be going live again tomorrow morning, same time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Standard Time. So be on the lookout for that. No problem, David. No problem. We also still got the actor strike going on right now. The SAG after is where they're busy preparing picket signs with another walkout. I said another possible walkout because of the fact that they've done walkouts decades ago. You know? Walkout. This is something that took place in 2021, where it says here that the SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher, yes, that Fran Drescher, the nanny, that one, said she was willing to strike in 2021 over the COVID vaccine mandates. I remember that. And now they had newer the SAG-AFTRA about to go on strike with the where they have picket signs. I'll be covering that as well. But yeah, we're about to go into another recession. If we're not in another recession right now. I also started covering current events, news updates and stuff like with Target and Bud Light, so that way you all won't get that same smoke in the same nonsensical, stupid, bias stuff that's has a cover of being news and everything from the mainstream media. I want to do it in a manner that's apolitical as well as unbiased and stuff. I research the news, put in my own words without any political ideology leanings and stuff, and share with you all. Okay. But unfortunately, this is the kind of world that we live in today. Times are not getting worse, they're just getting more obvious. And they assume that we're oblivious to that fact when we're not. All right. For those of you who joined me live, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for your support. Also, if you have any additional questions that you may think of either within this live stream or later on today, go ahead and leave that for me in the chat or in the comments below if you're watching it when it's recorded. Oh, I got 7 likes. Thank you all for your support. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Okay. Also, if you have anything that you want to hear from me, you want me to talk about, and in the future, I will be, doing this on another platform, another streaming platform where I can go ahead and take questions in from the chat, and also the chats, the questions and the statements can be loaded up. All right. So I'm going to recap the takeaways from what was discussed today. Everything that's led up to this point, it was all in the cause of the decisions made by Kathleen Kennedy as well as Bob Iger. In the previous video I shared with you all before about what happened with the meeting from last week that was called between Bob Iger and Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy basically played the blame game with Bob Iger. Okay, asking him, how did, Black Panther Wakanda Forever do in the box office? How did Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania? How did Strange World do in the box office? So on and so forth. Deflecting against him, not taking accountability for, her decisions. Kind of like what Bob Iger did. He didn't take accountability. He instead blamed the people out there, just like she did. She blamed the marketing and everything. Bob Iger with the whole issues with matters of the pandemic. And remember, these are rumors. These have been confirmed. Okay. So be sure to take these with a grain of salt as well. All right. So yeah, that's my time for today. I may be doing another live stream tomorrow to do more coverage on this. Be on the lookout for more videos that I'm going to upload to the channel today. Also, if you enjoyed that share in this video today, go ahead and smash like button, share far and wide across social media. All right. And make sure you also tune in for more updates. Okay. And remember, Indiana Jones Dollar Destiny has been overtaken in the box office by 2 different movies. They're both of them supposed to be independent, if not one of them. That's Sound of Freedom as well as Insidious 3. Okay. So that shows that in 1 week and one holiday weekend, Indiana Jones flopped in the box office thanks to Kathleen Kennedy and James Mangold and Bob Iger. All right. Thank you all for joining me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what went wrong in the video. In the live stream, also be sure to continue to provide any additional thoughts as well. If you enjoy what I shared in the video, go ahead and share it far and wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, you enjoyed all the content I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Until then, peace.